Junk email is something that we've all come across, I'm sure. You might receive some emails, for example, from a country that is asking you for some money or to tell you that you won a lottery prize. Most of these emails, whilst they sound too good to be true, that's because they normally are. Outlook has a number of tools to automatically identify these junk emails, and it will put them in the junk email folder. Let's have a look at those rules. If I right-click, you'll see I have a junk option, and then I've got junk email options. If I click on this, we have a number of settings available. We can choose the level of protection, i.e. what algorithms are being used. I could choose no automatic filtering. We wouldn't recommend this, and it's not normally your default setting, but basically what it's saying is that mail from block senders is still moved to the junk email folder, but no one else. So what basically is happening is you are saying that Outlook, everyone who I've told you this is junk, then move it there. But if you think anything's junk, don't worry about it. Not necessarily a good practice. Low's a pretty good setting to have and often the default. What it's basically saying is Outlook, just move the most obvious junk mail to the email folder. High actually heightens these settings. And it means that most of your junk email will be caught, but you'll probably find that a few of your regular emails are also ending up in your junk email folder. And all it means is you need to check your junk email folder more regularly. Then you've got the option which is the most extreme. And what it basically is saying is only trust email from email addresses that you have identified as being safe. This is great, but the problem is imagine if you give out your contact details to a new contact and you don't tell Outlook about that contact, then what will happen is that email will end up in your junk email folder. Then we've got the choice of telling Outlook when it does identify junk, what it's going to do. This item here, you can tell Outlook to, if there is a junk email or a suspected junk email, automatically delete that and don't even put it in the junk email folder. We normally don't check this, as if you do have any emails that are safe accidentally end up here, then they won't be caught. What we do recommend is that you disable links and other functionality and warn about any suspicious domain names. What this is basically doing is if any email comes in with any clickable links on it, then they're disabled so you can't accidentally click on them and perhaps infect your system. You then have the safe senders and the safe recipients. And the safe senders is where you identify specific email addresses or domains that you're completely happy to trust. And also you can add the also trust the email from the contacts in your contact list. You can automatically add people you email to the safe senders list. So if anyone does reply and it accidentally was going to go into the junk, this eliminates that from happening. Safe recipients, emails sent to these addresses or domain names will never be treated as junk email. We then have block senders, people who you've said, no, this is definitely junk email. Always put it in the junk email folder. And then I've got the option of also blocking domain names, specifically from specific countries perhaps. Domain codes that end in .ca or .mx. Or perhaps if there's certain characters that are coming in. For example, my language set doesn't have any letters that have accents on them. So perhaps if there's any characters with accents on them in the email, I want to automatically flag them as potentially junk. So now you've looked at seeing how you can change your junk email options. Let's look at what happens if I got an email that I thought was junk. What I can then do is right click on it, junk, and block the sender. Or what I can do is I can just drag it into the junk email folder. Once I'm in the junk email folder, you will see that I've actually made my reading pane inactive. This is often important in the junk email folder for the main reason of as soon as an email is in here, and if the reading pane is open, sometimes emails can send a message back to the sender to say, yes, this person has opened this email. And what you've just done is you've just said to the person who has sent that email that this is an active email address and you could encourage more spam. Now I recognize that this is from someone who I trust, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to open it and I can see that it's, hey, check out this website. Now this email, even though it's in my junk folder, It looks like the same sort of language that this recipient would send. It's the sort of content that I'd receive. So I'm happy with this. So I'm going to click on this email. But Outlook is there saying no. Because this email is in your junk email folder, I'm not going to let you click on any links. What I need to do in order to actually check out that link is I need to put that email into my inbox. Then if I go from my inbox, then I can actually click on that link successfully. And then it will load it up. That's just a little bit of added protection. So in junk email, any links here are automatically disabled. And they just protect you. One of the things just to be aware of is you might receive an email from the name of someone who you recognize, but in fact the email address itself doesn't look correct. So for example, I can see my email here and it's actually part of my contact. But here is an email that perhaps I don't recognize. Just be wary of things like this. Spammers, what they could do is spoof an email address. My recommendation is if the email and content looks like the sort of content you would receive from the sender, then don't worry about it. But if you do ever want to check, you can just ask the recipient. Common sense normally prevails with spam, but if you have any doubts, just leave it here in your junk email folder. There we go. So Outlook's ability to help you manage any spam and suspect emails.